Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at the Kroc Center, Hawaii, ready to meet the people who inform, inspire, and impact our daily lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. So we're in the art room here, obviously.
Yes, this is the art studio, primarily used for internal programming. We have art classes on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday afternoons. You do not have to be a member to take art classes here at the Kroc Center. We are blessed to offer scholarships to those who express financial need.
If you are a member, you get a discount.
Yes, you get a 10% discount off all of our classes here at the Kroc Center.
And you get to use supplies and create artwork. And what else does it evolve to?
So we have done an art night. It's a regular community event we have here. It's free to the community. And in our courtyard, we featured visual arts, music, and our Kroc Dance Academy and Ha'ahula programs.
Fabulous. And I know that it, of course, brings the community in. And with all of your creative ideas, there must have been something that came out of that, too.
Yes, from there, we kind of ventured off into a night market where we featured small businesses that were a part of the Ewa Beach and Kapolei community.
When we talk about the Kroc Center being a community center, it is not just for learning, it's also for sharing and exchanging ideas.
Absolutely. And one thing I did not mention a part of the art night is we did have our instructor go out to local schools in the community, and he did an art contest. We were blessed to acknowledge different age groups and a first, second, third place. They got scholarships to programs here, and their parents were very proud.
How exciting. It just never ends, right?
Never ends. Lots to do here.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm with Rick Ahn, who is the Ministry Director here at the Kroc Center, Hawaii. Thank you for joining us. Ministry Director, what a great responsibility, and I think joy for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you said, joy is really what it's all about. The Kroc Center is here to help people, everyone in our community, rediscover that joy in life that maybe they lost because of the busyness of life, the hard things of life.
Well, and on surface, this looks like a recreational center. We hear children coming from the pool, and we see crafts going on and seniors walking around. From a ministry perspective, because it is funded by the Salvation Army.
Yes.
Right? What do you find is the most significant part, not just of your job, but of the center here in Kapolei?
We have been strategically placed here. The history of the Salvation Army has always been to go where the need is the greatest. Obviously, we're on the west side, on the leeward side, where resources are more limited. So this center here really is a gift to this community to help everybody in this community to just rediscover their passion in life, their joy in life. And we get to be a part of that, and it's such an incredible privilege for us to do so.
I would imagine it's a bit challenging because driving into town in the morning and driving back through the traffic, joy sometimes leaves in traffic.
Part of the struggle we're talking about. And, it's really incredible how people, in spite of the busyness of life, they will make their way here. We open really early in the morning at 4:30 a.m. And a lot of our members will come to, again, just work out and just to get refreshed before that grueling journey ahead of them for the day. And then at the end of the day, hundreds, if not thousands of people will come here in the evenings to, whether they swim or they'll come with their families, with their children, they'll play in the game room, again, just to find that rest and that refreshing that they need for life.
Well, and when we talk about refreshing and rest, what kind of activities from a ministry perspective do you do here?
We have traditional ministry opportunities, like we do services and we do a lot of spiritual teachings, Bible studies, if you would, during the week. At the same time, we consider things like art classes and dance and taking swim lessons part of that spiritual journey, because it's really, that's what we believe God designed all of us for. It's not just all things spiritual, but it's the mind and the body. So we see all different avenues of people finding, again, their place and their purpose.
And the senior citizens must love to come here.
Absolutely. Since you mentioned that, we had recently a kupuna sock hop, and it was a sock hop, yeah, and it was so cute how the kupuna came in their
They wore
poodle
socks.
skirts and their jeans and their white muscle t-shirts. And we had about 80 to 100 kupuna here. And one of the most touching things from that, besides all the fun, was one of the seniors came up to me to thank me. And I don't know why she was thanking me, but she basically said, you know, since my spouse passed away, this was the first time I felt alive. And that's what it's all about. It's helping people to just, again, like I said, rediscover the joy and passion in life that they maybe once had.
Yeah, well, you know, thank you so much. If there's a parting message you would like to give to communities wanting to engage and support their residents, what would that be?
Yeah, you know, I think it's really important that people, wherever you live, have a place to go and belong. We've been fortunate to develop this Kroc Center for the fastest growing community in the state. But that's so important for every community to have a hub or maybe a place where you can go and be part of a bigger ohana versus your own. So we're blessed to do that here. If we can help other communities in any way, we would love to share what we've done here for the benefit of everybody in Hawaii.
A contemporary pu'uhonua,
Yeah,
a refuge.
love that.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank
then.
you.
We've just had the opportunity to meet Rick Ahn, who is the ministry director here at the Kroc Center, Hawaii. Aloha. I'm here at the Kroc Center, Hawaii, with Nainoa Mao, who is the Executive Director for Friends of the Library. Glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Friends of the Library is the nonprofit arm of the state library system.
Yes.
How did you get involved with that?
Well, I started as a volunteer, and I was helping out at the book sales, and the executive director reached out. She was looking for somebody to work with affiliate friends groups at each local branch, and I've been here ever since.
So each local branch has a friends group that takes donations and helps with volunteers.
Yes, with volunteers, with local support. So each library is in a different community. Each community is different, and it helps to have that local voice to not only raise funds, but also let the library know what that community wants from their library.
Well, and when you were volunteering, because that was probably in the middle of the day, when you could have been surfing, playing soccer, what moved you to look to the library as a place to give your time?
Well, I believe in literacy and education and the free access to information that the library provides. So it's a great cause, and I'm happy to be continuing to support it through working for Friends.
I appreciate your comment of how important access to information is, especially in this day and age. What do you find is the most challenging aspect of having actually a building where there are still books?
Well, a lot of people wonder whether libraries are still relevant with the internet and ebooks. And the answer is libraries have changed. They are allowing access to information to people who don't have internet at home, and in different ways. You know, they're no longer just repositories of books, but also they're community centers where people can come and gather. There are lots of great programs there, and they're now libraries of things. You can borrow a ukulele from the library.
Really?
Yeah, you can take different classes online. Definitely changing with the times.
It sounds like it's a place to go, not only for your own personal learning, but also to learn with others.
Exactly. It's a place to connect. Libraries are in every community. And as people look to ways of escaping the internet and, you know, being in their silos.
What do you find are the challenges with young people in looking at a tangible book?
Well, I think with ebooks, a lot of people jumped on board, and they're very useful. They're portable, but a tactile book, you just can't get away from that feeling of holding the book, of turning the pages. And I think the adoption of ebooks has sort of plateaued, and people are sort of now going back to using both. Libraries are connecting us to old technology, new technology, making sure that it's all still accessible and still places where people will help you find what you're looking for.
So as the executive director for Friends of the Library, what is the key role of that organization?
Well, we're the nonprofit of the 51 public libraries, so the statewide system. And we are providing most of the programming that you find at the libraries. The state doesn't provide funding for programs, staff training, and even grants for expansion of libraries.
So this arm, this nonprofit arm of the libraries is very important.
It is. Without the funding from Friends of the Library, the statewide organization, or the local Friends, you wouldn't find many programs that make the libraries interactive spaces.
So how might someone who may not visit the library, how might they get involved and become as attached to the goal as you?
Well, Friends of the Library is made up of mostly volunteers, very few staff members, and they're working year-round to hold book sales. We are receiving hundreds of thousands of donated books every year, and we're turning those around to provide that funding for the programming at the libraries.
So if I have books on my shelf that I haven't read in a while or I'd like to share, I can donate to the libraries?
Yes, so we pick up from all of the branches here on Oʻahu. All the libraries do have their own book sales, and we're having our November sale coming up at Washington Middle School, November 9th through 11th.
Super. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and let's go to the library.
Let's go.
Thank you. We've had the pleasure of meeting Nainoa Mao, who is the Executive Director for Friends of the Library. Mahalo for tuning in. With us here today at the Kroc Center, Hawaii, is Nate Sirota, who is the Public Information Officer with the Honolulu Parks and Recreation Department.
Good afternoon.
Have a wonderful, good afternoon, and you have a wonderful career, I think, working outside and with parks.
Well, thank you.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you do and what some of your priorities are.
Sure. So my main job, I try to spread the good word about what the Parks and Recreation Department is doing. You know, we have 299 parks on thousands of acres of land, fantastic recreational opportunities, whether it's our programming or our special events, things from Lay Day to Arbor Day, our botanical gardens. You know, there's so many fantastic ways that people can come out and enjoy the outdoors and our parks. So my job is to try and get that word out, to tell people, hey, get involved, come enjoy your parks and come activate them so that everyone can help enjoy them. One of the things that we've been focusing on recently is trying to make the parks more inviting and more secure so that people can feel comfortable coming to them and so they can bring their families. A couple of different initiatives that we've done, we have some park security initiatives. One of them is to lock up certain comfort stations and parking lots at night. We have great collaborations with organizations such as the Rotary Club of Honolulu. They're going to be doing a new park in the heart of Waikiki. We have a couple of dog parks like over at Ala Park and over at Kala Place Mini Park that are going to be coming up soon. So really trying to get as many people to the table to help improve these public areas because they belong to all of us.
And with all the development now coming up in Honolulu, parks are more important than ever.
That's correct. Yeah,
you're planting trees, I think, too, right?
Yeah,
I've seen them.
Yeah, lots of trees. We have a lot of tree planting initiatives. In fact, actually, we just launched some social media campaigns with our new community forestry branch. If you check them out, Oʻahu Trees are the handles for those two social media feeds. But we really want to garner support for the green areas and those trees as well, too, because they need to be here for when our increasing population starts to impact our facilities. Because that's what happens, right? We get more people around, areas get more developed, but we need to maintain those green areas that can kind of unite us together, because that's what parks are meant to be. The areas where people come together, they enjoy, they hui up, they barbecue, they have shared memories and can share their love and affection.
Well, and especially in this time of technology, when much of the recreational opportunities or time that people have is spent on machines.
Yeah, well, luckily here in Hawaii, we're blessed with beautiful weather year-round, right? It's kind of, when it comes to parks, that's actually a blessing and a bit of a curse because we have constant usage of our parks. So the maintenance is a continued factor as well. You know, if you go to places on the continental U.S., they have times when they can rest their fields. When there's, you know, it's cold outside and the grass isn't growing, so they can have a couple months to rest them. Here, it's not possible. We got this beautiful sunny weather year-round, and which is fantastic. You know, we can do sports activities any time of the year. At the same time, we have to have that extra maintenance.
So maintenance and security and replanting. one last idea on how maybe the community can support all your efforts and new initiatives?
Just to really stay informed. And that's kind of what one of my goals has been. I try to get the best information out to the public so they can know what's happening in their parks and how they can get involved. And so we like to get the word out there about all the hundreds of parks that we have, the dozens of programs, and the ways that you can get involved and enjoy our common green areas.
So with all the initiatives that you described and probably some new ideas coming up, how can the public best support?
So the best way to support, or really to support all of our parks, is to stay connected. We have great outreach efforts through our social media, through our website. If you look at honolulu.parks for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, those are great ways we try to keep the most up-to-date information and best information on that. Just really check out all the programs that are available at these locations. There's so many different activities, special events, sports leagues that come and go at these park locations, really to connect with them and to get a broader sense of community by sharing these green spaces with everyone.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Mahalo for joining me in meeting Nate Sirota, who is the Public Information Officer for the Parks and Recreation Department of the City and County of Honolulu. Mahalo. And this particular area is phenomenal.
It is. It's a huge attraction for members and guests in the community to come. This is our aquatics deck. We have two distinct areas, or two distinct pools here on the deck. Behind us is the Adventure Cove, where a lot of the kiddies play. It's a zero-depth entry. It's a Murtha liner, so it's very soft. No scrapes or bruises for the kids. We do have a lazy river and also a leisure pool where we conduct American Red Cross Learn to Swim classes here.
Oh, okay, and you have a jacuzzi, I notice, as well.
For the adults, 18 and over, we have a jacuzzi, yes.
And so when we come to this area, it's huge.
It is. Behind us, we have our cabanas. Our events team does a great job. We welcome families for birthday parties and celebrations. And then we have our Olympic-sized pool here with 14 swim lanes. And we have different community members, such as Island Pacific Academy and Kapolei High School, conduct their water polo practices here, as well as Open Swim and our own Salvation Army Kroc Center swim teams.
And again, these facilities are open to the public.
Yes.
Even if they're not a member. But
yes.
Members get discounts.
For the programs, absolutely. The members do get a discount, or anybody can enroll. For the actual use of the pool, members and those that purchase guest passes are welcome to stay here all day, open to close.
It makes you want to jump in, doesn't it?
Every time I come out here, every time.
How lucky the community is that this Kroc Center is here.
They are. They're very blessed.
Today we have the opportunity to make the acquaintance of John McHugh, who is the Pesticides Branch Manager for the Department of Agriculture. Glad you could be with us, and you as well. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you. I welcome the opportunity to talk about our program with the community.
Department of Agriculture, lots of responsibilities,
Yes.
even more so with the pesticides. Perhaps you can share with us what your greatest concern is.
Well, in Hawaii, we often talk about producing more of the food that we consume here in Hawaii. And, the real challenge we have is with invasive pest species. Once these invasive pests get here, they become quickly established, and then some of them become serious agricultural pests. So I don't know that it's possible to grow any crop here without the use of some pesticide. And our branch does enforcement of pesticide use. And it's interesting, pesticide use we often associate with just farms, but there's pesticides used in hospitals. There's pesticides that have to be used in schools. Anything that has an EPA registration number on the container means that it's a pesticide, and then it's our responsibility to enforce the law associated with using a pesticide.
And part of the challenge is when the pesticides are used, there's probably some water to wash it away or to clean it, and then it goes into our sewers.
Well, that can happen too if people are not really aware of where they're washing things down that they've treated with a pesticide or an antibacterial agent or something along those nature. And that's why, in addition to regulating, what we do is we have an education section. And that education section goes out and it works with the community, not just the regulated community, and by that I mean those who use pesticides, but the community at large. that needs to know how to use pesticides safely, needs to know that when used properly, that there is a minimal risk associated with it. But the fact of the matter is, within any population, there's going to be people that are sensitive to any level of pesticides. And so we often get complaints. The neighbor is spraying something that's smelly. We send our people out to investigate. But we also, in addition to investigating if it's appropriate, we work with the complainant to provide them as much information as we can about the safe use of pesticides. If their neighbors were using a pesticide, trying to identify what it is and any safety precautions that they might need to take.
There was recently legislation passed that within a certain number of feet of a school,
yes,
pesticides should be limited.
Yes, well, that was what we call Act 45 that was passed by the 2018 legislature. And during school hours, which is Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., I believe, no one can use restricted use pesticides within 100 feet of a school, any school, private or public school, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade.
So that is something that you enforce as well.
Yes, we're required to enforce that. We have actually been out having our education unit go out and work with the community to see if there is any of those areas that might be impacted by that law. And fortunately, there's not a whole lot of farms up against schools, so the 100 feet buffer zone is relatively small.
Hawaiʻi.
Yeah, yes. And you have farmers in the back of Hawaiʻi Valley there. But, I mean, I think that's where we are ultimately going. And the writing is on the wall, the buffer zones, maybe the buffer zones become bigger in the future.
So enforcement, education, and I would venture to say as we close our conversation today, advocacy for doing the right thing.
Yes, absolutely, because we're all about safe use of these pesticides. We will license them, we will register them. There's a use for them in Hawaii. There's almost 10,000 licensed pesticides that we use throughout the state. And we just feel it's important that the community has access to the right information so they can make the right decision.
Well, thank you for taking a moment to help clarify that, and we look forward to hearing more at another time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You've had the opportunity to meet John McHugh, who is the Pesticides Branch Manager for the Department of Agriculture. Glad you could be with us. Today on Island Focus, you will enjoy meeting Kamuela Enos, who is the Director of Social Enterprise for Ma'o Organic Farms. Thank you for joining us and sharing what the farms are all about.
Happy to be here, Lyla.
You know, we're at the Kroc Center where the focus is the organization of community. It's similar to what your purpose is as well.
So Ma'o Organic Farms is exactly that. It's a community-driven initiative founded by members of the community, a husband and wife team, Gary and Kukui Maunakea Fourth, to really use the strongest part of any community, the most enduring part, which is your land and your youth, to be able to recover the resilience that used to be there ancestrally. So we currently make that work via our social enterprise. So Ma'o is a farm. We are one of the largest farms on Oʻahu right now. We're located in a valley of Lualuale. So if you drive down Waianae, it's in the back. And I think what we really do is grow food and grow people. So organic farm is, like I said, a robust 24-acre now, but moving to 236. We just got some land, so we're rapidly scaling.
From 24 acres to 236?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think what's really driving that is, A, the demand for local produce, which is just rapidly just taking off. But more importantly, what makes us a social enterprise is the daily operations of our farm, which is a nonprofit that generates revenue, is run by young adults from our community. So the farm provides a college internship called the Youth Leadership Training, the YLT, and we recruit young adults from our region, Waianae and Ewa, and they come in as cohorts. They put in about 16 hours a week on the farm, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, from 7 to noon. In exchange, we provide a full tuition waiver to college, monthly stipend of excess of $500, but more importantly, we ask for a 2-year commitment because we graduate them on time with their associates. and move them on into leadership positions, either in the organization or onto a baccalaureate degree.
So basically, from the perspective of supporting these young people, you have a very parental role, as well as business preparation.
Right.
You know, you're preparing them for a career in life as well.
Really. It's also giving community an opportunity outside of us to help grow itself. So there's great ways to interact with us. If you're a parent and you got a kid that's 17 and they're wondering what to do and they have this idea that they want to do something meaningful, we have internships that you can reach out to us. But you could be a consumer. We're great partners with Foodland, and there's a lot of the Ewa and Waianae region, whether it's Foodland Kapolei or Sack and Save, Nanakuli. But also I think what is really important is that more than anything else, we can be aware that our islands used to be self-sufficient, and if we want to be self-sufficient again, we have to invest in growing food and growing young leaders. So I think just being generally aware of who and what we do and getting behind us is something that's deeply appreciated and welcomed.
I think it's actually quite unique and very creative to blend the business part with growing people and developing that leadership here. Maybe you could just back up a little bit and explain to us, from your perspective, organic means what?
We do organic farming for me because it's the closest thing in English to aloha. And the emphasis on organic is not the emphasis on a crop's annual yield, it's emphasis on the soil. And it sees the soil as an endowment that future generations have the right to. By growing organically, we are actually regulating and we actually held accountable to the health of our soil. So to me, organic is both a technical term that we actually have to be regulated via. But more importantly, I think it speaks to almost a spiritual understanding of growing from within and growing, accounting for multiple different bottom lines, not just your fiscal. Because it means nothing if we're able to generate a lot of food for one generation or one growth cycle at the expense of farmers and soil.
Well, it's very exciting hearing about what you're planning with the new acreage, and we will look forward to seeing them in the stores.
Oh, thank you, and we welcome anyone's support, and we just really appreciate the time to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Mahalo.
Thank you for joining us today in meeting Kamuela Inos, who is the Director of Social Enterprise for Ma'o Organic Farms. Aloha. Mahalo to the Kroc Center Hawaii for hosting us today, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.